Welcome back to Gallant Sector. Um, so this is my review for the 007 film, James Bond, Spectre. Now, I didn't get a chance to see Spectre when it was in theaters. I procrastinated, I put it off. Oh, I'm gonna go see it next week or maybe in a couple of days. Oh, I'm tired. And I missed its theater release. And I didn't see it in theaters, and I was very upset about that. Finally got a hold of Spectre now that it's out on DVD. And I watched it. I'm a huge James Bond fan. My mom got me hooked on James Bond since I was young. I've seen all of their films numerous times. It's one of the franchises I will always follow. It's got a huge following, and I love everything about it. Even the bad movies are still somewhat good. It's like pizza. Here's my review for Spectre and what I thought about it. Now, it really felt like a James Bond film. Enjoyed it for the most part. I didn't really have too many problems with Spectre, but I understand what they were trying to do. Now, see, ever since they got Daniel Craig, Casino Royale was the start of the series, mainly like a reboot of the series. And they're setting everything up, and they wanted to dig into Bond's history before he became 00 agent that you knew since Dr. No. For those of you who read the novels, we're not getting too deep into that right now. Casino Royale all the way up to Skyfall was basically the setup for what James Bond was ever since you were introduced to him in the films. Spectre picks up like right after that, like one of his first missions. It wasn't even his mission, not from MI6. He was doing something for the previous M, played by Judi Dench. Miss her, she was great as M. It was fantastic. Fan of hers ever since I seen GoldenEye. She left a message for Bond. If anything should happen to her, find a certain somebody and kill him and attend his funeral. Obviously, she was leading him to something that he needs to know about or something that she wanted finished even after her death. So Bond, on his rogue mission, comes across a ring on one of the guys that he assassinates, and it has that logo on there. It's like an octopus with like 7 limbs. He finds out later from Q that an organization is linked together by this one guy named Franz Oberhauser. Uberhauser? Something like that. Franz Uberhauser is linked to some guys that he previously took out before, like Le Chiffre in Casino Royale. Also the other 2 bad guys, antagonists from Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. Now they're all connected to this guy Franz. And Uberhauser is running an organization, and Bond actually sneaks into these meetings using the ring he got off of one of the people who were affiliated with the organization. Uberhauser calls out to him. Bond's like, oh my gosh, he knows I'm here. And it must be hundreds of people in this room. He knows I'm here. He escapes, run out the room. He has a car chase scene, very Bond style. And it was a car he took from Q Branch. I really like Q. I like the younger guy that got to play Q. He has a lot of like what you would expect the old Q to be if he was younger. And, you know, I like the guy who's playing Q. He comes to find out that this organization is looking for a guy named the Pale King. He wants to find the Pale King so he can find this Franz Uberhauser, since he knows everything that's going on with Bond, where Bond's going, where he's been at. He finds this cabin out in Australia, this really snowy part in some mountains by this lake, and it happens to be Mr. White. Mr. White was a guy from the first Bond film. He showed up at the end of Casino Royale, and he was also in Quantum of Solace. But he was somebody who Bond interacted with regularly, and it made sense. Pale King, Mr. White, White being pale. So Mr. White kills himself. He offs himself because he's like, I'm dying anyway from some type of, I'm being poisoned by like, I don't know, some type of radiation. But he wants to protect his daughter. So Bond tells him, tell me where the guy is. Tell me where Franz is, and I will help you out. I know you protected somebody. He's like, no. Yeah, you're protecting your daughter. Okay, yeah. So Bond decides, I can protect her. Mr. White tells him how to find her. My daughter should know. So he gives Bond the guy's name, and then he shoots himself. Bond goes to find his daughter. She's not trying to be helpful at first. The bad guys come for the girl. Bond has to chase him in a plane down the mountain. They're in cars, and he's riding over mountaintops, hitting trees. He's in the middle of the street playing chicken with a plane towards these cars. You know, what you expect from Bond. Anyway, he gets the girl. Finds some room hidden in the hotel room that the girl, Miss Swan, used to stay in with her father, Mr. White, and her mom back when they were married before they got divorced. Hidden room. Inside the hidden room, he's looking around. He finds out Mr. White was looking for Uberhauser. But what happened is he finds a tape On the tape, it says Vespa's interrogation. Now, Vespa was the girl Bond fell in love with in Casino Royale. They had this great chemistry where they tried to one-up each other. The other one was smarter than the other, and just, whatever. But they end up falling in love, and it worked really well. See Casino Royale if you haven't seen it. Great Bond film, one of the best. But he puts the tape back, is bringing up memories. That was a nice throwback to Vespa. I really like Ava Green. She played Vespa. I love her a lot. But anyway, he gets into the organization with Miss Swan, but he gets captured. Franz hooks him up, and he got him in some kind of torture device with these little teeny drills. He's drilling in the side of his head, just real small drilling holes. And he says he can make Bond forget his memories or something like that. And he confessed to Bond that they know each other. How they know each other is when Bond's parents died when he was young. There was somebody who raised him for a little while before MI6 picked him up as an orphan. And that person who raised him was Fran's father. Fran didn't like that his father was taking a liking to young Bond, so he staged his own death and killed his father, made it look like it was an avalanche accident, and Fran's changed his name to Blofeld. He's Blofeld from the previous Bond movies, the bald guy that looks like Mr. Evil. Mr. Evil's based off of Blofeld, and he has a scar, and he's like missing an eye. Anyway, he's torturing Bond. Bond somehow escapes in his way, a little gadget that he has in his watch, given to him from Q Branch. With the help of Miss Swan, they blow up Blofeld. Well, the explosion happened near him. He's obviously injured. And they escape the facility. The facility blows up. He knows that it might not be over. So anyway, as he regroups, the girl gets kidnapped after he drops her off, thinking she's safe and fine. He gets back with Moneypenny. They get attacked. They kidnap Bond. Somehow he works his way into the MI6 building. It's being demolished. It's been overran. And all these bombs are set up with inside. He knows he got to find this girl. He goes and he finds Blofeld. Blofeld's behind some glass, and he's talking to him, and now he has a scar over his eye, and his eye is missing from the explosion that happened with the watch. It seems like the whole movie was set up just so they could reveal Blofeld. And, they wanted to do an act where you didn't know it was Blofeld. You figured maybe it is, and it's a new villain, but he's a hit of Spectre, and Blofeld was a part of Spectre in old Bond films. And then they want to reveal, okay, this guy is Blofeld, and you guys were kind of like, he was just foster parents' son. You guys were like brothers for a while, and he hated you because his dad liked you more, and this is all some revenge plot. He's supposedly been planning Bond's life out, making him live in hell, knowing that he was in MI6, he was a 00 agent. And, it felt like a Bond film, but it just wasn't, it didn't have that epic scope. It did with the visuals. The visuals were nice, and all these exotic places they were going to. And, they do a lot of traveling in Bond movies, but it just didn't have that feel, like Skyfall. Coming right after Skyfall, it's going to be hard to top that. That was a very good Bond film. It had a lot of classic feel to it, and a little touches of new here and there, but Skyfall was like flawless. So I would give Spectre probably like 7.5 out of 10. And it's not to say too much was wrong with it. It just didn't reach heights that previous Bond films have reached before. I like Casino Royale better than Spectre. I mean, I'm really a fan of Bond films, so I really have a strong place in my heart for the older Bond films. Sean Connery being my favorite Bond ever. So anyway, it was an okay film. I say check it out. It's something you need to see if you're a fan of Bond, and it's just an okay movie to watch. It really is. You won't be bored, I promise you, but it just doesn't reach the height of some previous Bond films. Now, Daniel Craig wants out of the Bond franchise. He says it's a very, very tough process filming these films. You travel a lot, and it's just tough. I understand that. He does a lot of his own stunts, I believe. He does a lot of them, not all of them. So if you like this video, or you like Bond films, give me a like. If there's something you want to discuss, something I might have left out that was important that you thought was terrible about the film, or how the film was probably one of the best Bond films ever, leave it in the comments. We can discuss it. Subscribe, share the video if you will, and I will see you next time.